Hello everybody and welcome to another mini Disney Q&A. Today we're here at Epcot on MC Magic with my little Q&A crew who are following me around, and we're going to answer a couple of Disney questions. So, let's see. Our first question this week comes from Adam Rohde, who asks, "Hey Rob, I heard a rumor that Disney is changing the entertainment around World Showcase. For example, Off Kilter and Mo Rockin' will no longer be playing there. Is this true? And if so, do you think it had any correlation to the changes elsewhere in World Showcase, such as the Frozen ride announced?" So, yes, from what I've researched, this is true. I was reading an Orlando Sentinel report that said many live entertainment acts, quote, are being discontinued at Epcot. On the way out in the next several weeks are Off Kilter, Mo Rockin', Spirit of America Fife and Drum Corps, and the World Showcase Players. So to get to your other question, so one, yeah, I think it's going to happen. I think it's true. Does it have any correlation to the other changes? Now that's the interesting question. Here's my guess, and that's all we really can do is guess. Disney hasn't announced that they're connected at all. My guess is yes, they're related, but they're not. Correlation, yes. Causation, no. There's that saying, correlation does not mean causation. Which is to say, I don't think they went, all right, well, we're getting rid of Norway for Frozen. While we're at it, let's get rid of all this stuff, and then Frozen's the reason that all of this stuff is coming to an end. I think what you seeing happen, or what you'll see happen over the next couple of years, is them going, okay, let's rejuvenate World Showcase, let's change things up, make things fresh, and as part of those plans, we will replace the Maelstrom, we will take these acts out, replace these acts, and who knows what else they have up their sleeve. I think it was more of a larger scale project, and I think it's interesting to consider because on our side, we might not see that connection right away. The Maelstrom news came and went, and then, now this news is coming and going, and who knows what news about World Showcase we'll hear in the future. But on their end, they have a big picture. They probably know what they're doing with the World Showcase, not just this year and next year, but 5 years from now, maybe even longer than that. And so there may be a bigger picture in mind. And so I think it's important to keep that in mind because we might immediately go, they're getting rid of, Mo Rockin'. I love Mo Rockin'. And, I hate you, Disney. You're getting rid of the thing I like. But if you don't know the big picture, we don't know. Maybe something better will be there in its place. Part of the quote that Disney gave about this was, they're always trying to keep things fresh. So it's not like they're getting rid of it and then just nothing, or they're just trying to strip down World Showcase so that it's bare. They want people to go, and to get people to go, they need people to be enticed to go. And, sometimes that means taking out old stuff and putting new stuff in, which is exactly what Walt wanted from the park. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And then our other question today comes from Jordan Man, who says, the stretching room in the Haunted Mansion is an elevator, right? If so, how do they transport you down without noticing? So this is a great piece of Disney history. You're right and you're wrong. So there are two Haunted Mansions, right? There's the Haunted Mansion that we could think of in Disneyland, and then the one in Disney World. The one in Disneyland does use an elevator to descend guests down into an underground level that has the ride. In the Walt Disney World version, however, there is no elevator. In fact, what happens is the walls stretch upwards, so to create that sort of stretching effect. So it's interesting. It's the same room, same effect, but different means of doing it. And there are different reasons as to why. So what Disney can't do is go too far down, and because of that is Central Florida has a pretty shallow waterbed, and it makes digging too deep down a problem. That's why the utilidors are technically on ground level, and the rest of the Magic Kingdom is above it. That's also why the only time you're really going to the quote-unquote ground level in the Magic Kingdom is when you're in a very heavy attraction, which involves a lot of water. So think of, it's a Small World. You go down that ramp to get on the ride because all of that water is very heavy. Pirates of the Caribbean, what's one of the first things that happens in that attraction is you take a dip down because you have all that heavy water. And then you have like the main ending of Splash Mountain where you go, you go down the drop, but then you notice when you go down the drop, you're further down than the rest of the walking level. And so you couldn't really do that with the Haunted Mansion. So what they did is they had the wall stretch upward, and then you go out the other side. And that's why you probably don't feel any sort of sensation, because you're not actually moving up or down. Now in Disneyland, it is an elevator. What they can do is they can dig down, but what they can't do is spread outwards. They don't have as much space as Disney World. So a trick that they would often use is to go down underneath and then use underground area to put the attraction. Now, I don't know if you feel it or not, because sadly I've never been to Disneyland, so I've never ridden that version. I guess people who have been there will have to attest to it, though it is a very large, high-capacity elevator that moves pretty slowly, so you're likely not going to feel that same sensation you feel when you get into an elevator at like an office building or something, because those move much faster and are much lighter. But one last interesting fact about the elevator that I learned recently about the Haunted Mansion elevator is that its load capacity is higher going down than up. So while it can safely lower a full room of guests down to the attraction, it actually doesn't have the power to lift them back up again. So in the event of an emergency, you actually just have to go up through like stairs or ramps or some other means, because the elevator just doesn't have the capabilities to lift it up. And I think that's interesting, because I think we just always assume an elevator can equally lift as much as it could slowly lower, but not the true with the case of the Haunted Mansion. Anyway, thank you for the questions this week. Thank you guys for following me around. Thank you for asking questions. If you have a question you want me to answer, please leave it in the comments below. I try to get to as many as possible. If I don't in the video, I try to at least in the comments. Have a great week, everybody. Whatever you're doing, make the most of it. It makes it so much better. And I hope to see you all next time for the next Mini Disney Q&A. Bye, everybody.